Later, and Brother Dhiya was released. Father Pierbattista Pizzaballa, the Custos of the Holy Land, talks about the challenge of remaining in conflict areas. The dedication of the Basilica of the Holy Sepulcher was celebrated to commemorate the inauguration that took place in 1149. A Mass was celebrated at St. George's Church in Zababdeh for the laying of the foundation stone for the Church of Mary's Dormition. The restoration of the Syrians' court in Bethlehem has uncovered an inscription on ancient stone. The custody of the Holy Land has announced that Father Dhiya Aziz, who was kidnapped on Saturday, July the 4th in the village of Yakubiye in the Orontes region of Syria, was released on Friday, July the 10th. Father Pierbattista Pizzaballa talks about his condition.
Innanzitutto che è in buona salute, sta bene, non è stato maltrattato. Sappiamo che è stato rapito da una cellula, era stato rapito da una cellula non...
First of all, he is healthy and well. He was not mistreated. We know that he was kidnapped by a group that is not related to Jabhat al-Nusra. The organization worked hard to find him and free him. They were a cell of Islamists or simply criminals. However, everything went well, and we thank the Lord.
È andato tutto bene e ringraziamo il Signore.
Father Dhiya Aziz is the second friar kidnapped in the Orontes Valley in Syria in the last year, and he was released after a week. So far, the total number of religious who have been kidnapped from other communities during the Syrian conflict is 7, 6 of whom have not yet returned home. The custody of the Holy Land is the province of the Order of Friars Minor that protects the sites at the origins of the Christian faith. It is present in 11 countries with 55 monasteries and 273 religious at the service of the Holy Land. One of the great challenges at this time is the growing violence in various conflict zones, mainly in Syria and in Iraq. Father Pierbattista Pizzaballa explains what it means for the Franciscans to cherish the holy places and to stay close to the Christians in these areas at risk. You visited Aleppo and also walked in the midst of rubble and destruction. For the Franciscans, what are the implications of staying in a place of conflict in order to take care of the sanctuaries and remain close to the Christians?
Noi in Siria abbiamo pochi santuari, sono prevalentemente...
We have few sanctuaries in Syria, and mainly parishes. We are there not so much for the churches or the places, but for the people, like a shepherd protecting his sheep. The Franciscans have always been in this land, throughout the Middle East, sometimes even in difficult circumstances. We have never abandoned this task, and we will never leave, because this is our mission, to stay in the Holy Land, to preserve its Christian character, and especially to care for the Christian presence. You spoke of the value of peace, given to us by Jesus, and so dear to St. Francis. In a situation that is getting worse and worse, is it possible to hold out some hope?
Si deve avere speranza. La speranza cristiana nasce dalla resurrezione di Cristo.
We must not lose hope. Christian hope is born with the resurrection of Christ. So if we are in the resurrection, we cannot not have hope. This does not mean that we are ignoring a painful, sad, dramatic and barbaric reality. We must see beyond these facts, and we must learn to look for signs of life, despite the many signs of death that are present here. We need to be capable of building relationships for the future, above all.
Costruire relazioni, costruire la vita per il futuro.
Many of those following us in the media are worried and want to hear news from the Holy Land. How can the friars, how can Christians be involved in this situation?
Innanzitutto bisogna pregare.
We must first pray, because prayer is a sign of delivery. Prayer is trusting our lives and everyone's life to God, our provident and merciful Father. Then we must consistently support those few Christians who are still living in the Middle East, in every possible way. And most of all, we must let them know that we will remain here despite all of the trials and difficulties, and despite all the signs of death. We possess something no one can snatch away from us, life, and we will stay here, because our roots are deep and firm. Therefore they cannot be eradicated.
Molto ben radicate e profonde non possono essere estirpate.
July the 15th is an important date for the Basilica of the Holy Sepulcher. The dedication of this church, at the heart of Christianity, is solemnly celebrated in a liturgy commemorating the inauguration that took place in 1149.
The feast of the dedication of the Basilica on the 15th of July is the feast that commemorates the consecration of the Basilica during the time of the Crusades. The original consecration of the Basilica, however, is much older, because the original consecration of the Basilica goes back to the year 335 during the time of St. Helena and Constantine.
A solemn celebration presided over by the Custos of the Holy Land, Father Pierbattista Pizzaballa, in the presence of several friars and some local Christians.
The Custos said in the homily, we're not commemorating just a historical event. So what we commemorate here is the presence of the Christian presence in this holy place, because a church is not consecrated because it is made up of stones alone. It's consecrated because it is a community of worshippers, a community of people who come here. And this place is special in the whole world, as we know, because not only Catholics pray here, but Greek Orthodox pray here, Armenians pray here, Copts pray here, Syrians pray here. Many rites come to this place, and obviously it belongs to all kinds of Christian denominations, even though officially it belongs just to 3 churches, but any Christian can come and pray.
A liturgy that renews the joy of Easter in all present and nourishes in us the mystery of Christ, who made the ultimate sacrifice on our behalf. There is no doubt that the dedication of the Basilica is above all the remembrance of how important this place is, the site where Jesus was laid, the empty tomb that tells us about the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. In addition, this place is the testimony of the apostles and of the church throughout the centuries that Jesus rose from the dead. And so, to the sound of drums, the foundation stone was laid. On June the 28th, the entire village of Zababdeh celebrated, and the parishioners flocked to the place where the Church of Mary's Dormition will be built. Many priests, Mayor Sami Ibrahim, and the Greek Orthodox Patriarch Theophilus III were present. Today is an important event, especially in the present context. As you know, there are people who use religion for the sake of partisan interests. It's our duty to show the world that what these people are trying to accomplish does not apply to this country. Here, Muslims, Christians and other religious groups live together, and there is visible harmony among them. This is a most beautiful day, full of joy without parallel. I have been waiting for this moment for 30 years. The church used to stand here, but was destroyed 30 years ago. Today, after such a long time, His Beatitude the Patriarch has finally blessed the foundation stone for the reconstruction. So this time cannot go by without me feeling great joy, because I always insisted that it should be rebuilt. Once again, it will be a house of prayer, as it was before.
كانت كنيسة البداية كان ينسمع فيها الصلوات لله.
The happy event was liturgically celebrated by the Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Jerusalem, Theophilus III, accompanied by numerous clergy and attended by the faithful of St. George's Parish. We do not belong to the same country, but we come together to form one nation, and we want to show the world that there is freedom here, as well as respect for every religion. This is why I wanted this church to be built next to the mosque. The court of the Syrians in Bethlehem is located about 250 meters north of the Basilica of the Nativity, and it was built sometime between the 17th and the 20th centuries. The court took its name from the Syrians who came to live in the city in the early 19th century, particularly in 1838.
هذا الحوش كان عد من حوالي 20 ل 25 عائلة كانوا موجودين فيه. فمع الزمن واللي
About 20 to 25 families lived in this court. These were complete houses with all their ancillary rooms, but over the years and because of the current situation, the children got married and moved out. No one comes back to inhabit the houses that were left empty. Now only 6 or 7 families remain in the court where I was born. The others are gone and have abandoned their homes. Some people came to visit the court, and noting that this is an area with a certain historical interest, they suggested that the city hall renew it and convert it into a hotel. There were about 400 Syrian families in Bethlehem. Today there are only 130 of them. They emigrated because of the deteriorating economic and political conditions from 1967 up to today.
130 حالة. سبب اللي هاجروا السريان من هذا البلد هي الظروف اللي عشناها في من وقت الحروب، مثلا من 67 لهون، الأعمال، الأشغال، الوضع الاقتصادي، الوضع السياسي.
حوش السريان حوش من حواش بيت لحم لأنه كانوا بعد ذبح.
The Syrian quarter is one of the districts of Bethlehem. It was established by the Syrians who fled from Turkish persecution. They arrived here and built the district that has their name. My own view is that everyone should stay in their homeland. Whoever emigrates to foreign lands will always be a foreigner, and living a difficult life in your own country is always better than living abroad without hardships. The Syrians' court is actually composed of many courtyards, interconnected through various corridors. The court is composed of rooms, some of which are carved out of rocky caves. It's also noteworthy that there are stables for horses. There are also numerous arches and thresholds that denote a certain architectural value. Next to the court is St. Mary's Church, a well-built structure enriched with books and rare sacred icons.
هذا المشروع هدف إلى ترميم واحد من أقدم الأحواش الموجودة في مدينة بيتلحم.
The project's goal is to restore one of the most typical areas of Bethlehem. The quarter has some historical importance. The most venerable seems to date back to the end of the 1700s. The property belongs in part to the Katan family and partly to the convent of the Syrians. The restoration project is the most challenging in which I have participated as an engineer of the municipality. We found some rooms underground due to the collapse of the structures above. Some of the premises that had been submerged in the lower levels have been uncovered during the excavations.
أشياء بتميز المباني الموجودة، عدة نقوشات موجودة على المدخل.
The restored section of the district will be a guest house for tourists and pilgrims. The municipality of Bethlehem are working with the Center for Heritage Conservation, the municipality of Montevarchi, and the owners.
We are here to tell you about the Holy Land, to raise awareness and visibility of the Mother Church of Jerusalem, local Christians, and holy places. We are here to tell so many forgotten stories of daily efforts, courage, and faith. We are here to promote hope in the land of God. Support those who give a voice to custody of the Holy Land's work.